All across campus this week, students groaned over the announcement of bands playing at this year's Art Attack. While many students would rather see popular artists like Ziggy Marley and Third Eye Blind, what they might not realize is that it takes more than just whining to bring big names to campus. Our Brian Kupler is out on the mall to tell us more. Brian?
Thanks, guys. Well, Art Attack is coming, and in about 2 weeks you'll see a huge stage erected right here where I'm standing. But a lot of students are complaining about exactly who's taking that stage. For Art Attack 98, but the list of bands for this year's annual spring concert have many students irritated.
I think they suck. They could have tried to get something a little bit, more contemporary.
Everybody wants, to see a big name instead of all these little hokey bands that only appeal to a few people.
But whether students' complaints are about why Maryland can't get that big act, or why C Productions can't satisfy diverse musical tastes, it all depends on one thing: the mighty dollar.
The only way that we can answer to these critics of Art Attack this year is to turn around next year, put it in Bird or put it in Cole, and charge $15 and use that money to book the bigger band. That's the only way it's going to be possible until the SGA or President Kerwin or the Office of Campus Programs decides that concerts are an important enough part of this campus that it draws and retains students to this campus, and that it's a viable part of student life.
So the big crowd-pleasing acts aren't playing the mall for Art Attack this year, but C Productions says it's working with the money they've got. They're trying something new this year, a festival-style format inviting 6 different bands to hopefully satisfy different audiences.
We decided the only way to do it and to get everyone interested was to get that hip-hop act and to get that hippie grassroots act and to get that ska band and that HFS band.
But despite their efforts, C Productions is still being widely criticized for this year's show from both students and the Diamondback. But Jared Paul says that even though there is no big act performing this year, the concert and the event as a whole will still be worthwhile.
I would think that a lot of people will be sort of biting their tongues and eating their words when they have nothing better to complain about than the fact that Dave Matthews isn't playing this concert.
And Jared Paul may be right, because there's a lot of different changes in this Art Attack, including the one with the format, the festival format, getting a couple different bands. They're also going to have a South Park booth showing a bunch of South Park episodes constantly throughout the day. And they're also going to have a stand-up comic DJing between the bands and giving some jokes out into the mall as people are enjoying the arts and crafts out in the mall. So it's a free concert, and it should be fun. Guys?
Now, Brian, what bands exactly did they try to book and they weren't able to?
Well, on the scene, they tried to book a bunch of bands, including Third Eye Blind, Ziggy Marley, Lisa Loeb. But again, it comes down to how much money the SGA gives them and how much money the campus gives them and the availability of those artists. I mean, they came up with 6 different artists this year to try and, satisfy 6 different tastes. So hopefully it'll be a big hit.
Brian, ultimately, who's in charge of deciding what bands come here? Who makes the final decision?
It's a collective decision, all C Productions department, but the concert director, Jared Paul, as I spoke to in my story, he's the one who books the bands, calls the bands, try and gets them to come here to campus, and has to deal with a lot of stuff like availability and money and dealing with the budget.